So I'm apologizing in advance for the fact that this looks a bit formulaic, but right from the outset, this is the only way that I can communicate what I do. And essentially what I do is I'm enraptured by the concept of sundials, the passage of time, and how human beings interact with time. The title of my little 15 minutes or whatever it is was a little insight into the fact that I'm in awe of the mathematics. I am intimidated by the academics who actually inhabit the world of sundials and the giants that have gone before us. So I came to sundials 30 years ago. I stumbled upon a very badly made Armillary Sphere, and I was obsessed. Within 30 minutes of seeing a sundial and having no knowledge of sundials, I'd got through pretty well half of my life. I saw a sundial, and by the end of that day, I had gone to the Museum of the History of Science in Oxford, a phenomenal museum with a world-class collection of astrolabes. And I'd bought a book, I'd measured sundials, I'd bought some metal, and I'd started making a sundial for no other reason than I couldn't stop myself. And I suppose what this is trying to reach out to anybody who has an awareness of sundials. They are beautiful pieces of mathematical engineering. They are eloquent, they're historical, they're scientific, but they also touch something much, much more profound in the human psyche. That is to say, we all have an intrinsic awareness of time, the passage of time, our relationship with time. And I used to use the example, if you were a caveman and you left the cave to go hunting, and if you didn't turn around to come back by midday, you would not get back in time, because you'd have to have an awareness of how much of your day has passed. So it's an elemental, instinctive awareness, which is actually very reassuring. So I've spent the last 30 odd years building a company, creating sundials, creating sculptures that are sundials and selling them around the world. For me, the essence of this is sharing the joy of and the elegant, inexorable, almost therapeutic, cathartic passage of time. Now that's getting very esoteric and wordy, but the reality is there is something deep within all of us that reminds us of this beautiful, our connection with the moment, the place, and the passage of time. But if you, Martin, if you could click one through, and I don't want this to be this is not a sales pitch, but it's just to show that a kind of no formal training. I left school at 15, but I revel in the beautiful art of making sundials and sharing that passion with my clients and others. So the picture here shows a Blagrove dial, a Blagrave. I had been making sundials for about 15 years before I discovered that John Blagrave, who was an incredibly eminent sundial maker, scientific instrument maker in Oxfordshire, England, was actually one of my ancestors. So as a tribute to him, based on the engraving on the left, we recreated the sundial, which you can see in bronze, and we unveiled it at the Science Museum in London. And I think the next picture shows a few of the actual, we can roll on one, Martin. Yeah, this is just us sculpting and creating the piece in the workshop. Again, I really want you to know this is not a sales pitch. It's just showing that there is a passion to creating these wonderful pieces that strike a chord, that resonate with anybody who comes in contact with them. A child looking at a sundial will interpret it in a particular way. A captain of industry looking at a sundial will also absorb some magic from it, and there will be a stillness, there'll be a calming, there'll be an awareness of time that we all really need to connect with, and it's something that is missed in our day-to-day lives, something that we don't appreciate, we don't acknowledge. We've all got phones and watches, but this is the way that we can all just calm down and understand what is truly important. So this was sculpting. The next slide, there's an expression which is, there's nothing new under the sun. And I was quite proud. Somebody, I'm sure, will tell me that this isn't a new sundial, but I created this one about 5 years ago. And it's called a Maya dial, and it essentially is a series of optical illusions and blades. It's the mathematics is straightforward: 15-degree increments and reflective surfaces, but also casting a shadow. But the joy of it is it's a sculpture, and it tells the time very accurately. And unless I'm mistaken, it hasn't. I don't think anyone's seen one before. The idea is you can actually, you believe you can see through solid metal, and that is an allusion to the concept of time, that we're all trying to kind of understand it. Oh, what have we got next? I can't remember. Martin, could I try? Thank you. Greece is a rather joyous one. We were commissioned by the University of New Mexico to make a replica of Tycho Brahe, excuse my pronunciation, any Danes in the room. There isn't a working example of this in the world, but we took from the drawings, and with the incredible assistance with a fellow sundial maker, friend, mathematician called Chris Luxby Taylor, we designed and built this piece with using faithfully the drawings that survived. All his works were burnt back in the day, but we actually reproduced this. It's about 2.8 meters tall. It's in New Mexico. It's in marine grade stainless steel, and it is used at least once or twice a week to shoot stars. And as the precursor to the telescope, it was an amazing piece of engineering excellence. But we were very, very pleased to have been commissioned to make that. Well, yes, we can go to the next one. I'm running through this. I guess what I'm trying to just show here is there's a joy in sundials. There's a diversity in, the last piece was incredibly finely executed engineering, and this one is pure free-form sculptural art, which happens to be supporting a sundial. We call it the light sorceress. It's there to amuse, entertain, but basically it functions as a sundial, and that's hand-beaten copper with a glass-etched sundial. I don't know what the next slide will be. I should know in advance. That's a version of it as well, although this one was designed for a client who wanted to see it from both sides. So we had the morning on one side and the afternoon on the other, as the sun goes round. So it is effectively a disc facing north-south, a line north-south, so the faces are east-west. Quite unusual. I'm sure it's been done before. Andromeda dial. I guess I'm embarrassed by the fact that I'm running through these. I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm embarrassed by the fact that I'm just running through my pieces. As long as everyone can appreciate that the story is an enthusiasm for sundials, an enthusiasm with no formal training, with no academic background, but just enjoying making the sun, or harnessing the power of the sun to enchant and to educate us with, its time telling and its power. That's called an Andromeda, which is something like a science fiction piece, and it's very simply it's essentially a spherical glass etched armillary sphere, just using the glass as the ribbons. If we could roll on one, because I'm conscious of time. The Scottish pillar dials have always been intriguing to me. They are world class in their complexity, and if not slightly showing off as to how clever they are with the number of dials and the maths that go with them. This one had a whole series of concave dials, reclining, declining dials in different orientations. So that one had something like 20 odd dials on it, telling the time in a golf course in Scotland, but with a contemporary twist to it. I'm very conscious of time. Vertical dials, declining, these are all standard dials on colleges in Oxford, churches in Oxfordshire. We've done them all over the world, slate and glass and stone, whatever. But that's a very accessible sundial, and actually very pleasing, because they're instantly emotionally accessible. They are for everybody. They are so that they are to be enjoyed by everybody. They are designed for everybody, but they also show that whoever has positioned it has the voice of authority, that they hold the key to time, which is, I think, slightly traditional with public buildings, churches and the like. I think we've got one more to go, and then I'm hoping I'll leave a bit of space to have a comment. An obelisk, the pre-Babylonian mathematics, a nightmare to make time, to tell time with, but it's so elegant and simple and clean that we do use them to create sundials in stainless steel and metal, and stainless steel, glass, copper, and whatever. And I think I got one more picture.
There are two more.
Oh, there are two more. Okay, good. This is a classic example of somebody who has no knowledge of sundials, no experience of sundials, meeting with a client who decided they wanted a sundial. They had originally wanted a small, modest, 30-centimeter horizontal dial. And in the course of a 2-hour lunch, it was a very good lunch, we designed and he commissioned 200 tons of Purbeck stone, a model of the solar system, and an alignment for the first rays of the third millennium sun coming over the horizon and going through a hole on a dial, which was lovely. I mean, it was a joyous commission with a lot of fun, and it's become a notable public space. It's now surrounded by a dense woodland. I think that might be the last picture of a water feature. Barossa style, Chaldean priest. I made these 20 odd years ago. Interestingly, for anybody who is not in the industry, and there are precious few of us actually in the industry, my bank manager said to me after about a year of making sundials, you will have exhausted the market after a few years. There will be no more people wanting to commission sundials. Well, 30 years later, with 30 employees, with offices in 2 or 3 of the continents of the world, we are still making sundials. So there is a desire for people to commission sundials. I think there's a desire at every level, but to make quality sundials that are correctly made, that are made with passion, and that are made with imagination, that is how we engender a following for sundials. I am in awe of the people who can work out the mathematics. but I love the fact that I'm encouraging people to either commission a piece or to become engaged with the concept of a sundial. If we don't provide the excitement and the thrill and the joy of sundials, it's going to be a long haul keeping people entertained and excited.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's the last picture.
Yes, exactly.
So the last comment, because I think I've gone over time, is essentially that I am so privileged to have spent the last 30 years making sundials for people and allowing them to have that little window on this almost lost and precious world, whereby they can enjoy an alternative reality, the reality of your mobile phone, your computer, you're rushing around from A to B. And the thing about a sundial is it's a leveler. Whether you are a billionaire or somebody who has got a very rudimentary understanding of the passage of time, we all have the same constraints, and we can all enjoy it to the same degree.
Oh, thank you very much. There are two raised hands. Possibly some quick questions or comments, and then we could go on.
Only if it's not technical, because I'm rubbish.
So, Woody, please.
Yes, David, I really enjoyed your presentation. I've admired your dials online. Would you be willing to yourself or have someone in your firm state more exactly which of those dials are public and what towns they're in, things like this, for those of us that travel around the world and have seen a picture of it? Can we get to it? Just a little bit of information like that.
Yeah, no, we absolutely can. In fact, I am aware that there is the sundial register. And if I'm completely honest, when I first started making sundials, I didn't have the confidence to put my sundials up in front of people. The reality is they're well made and they tell the time and they are made with integrity. So the answer is yes, we can. But I'll have to dedicate one of my team, probably for quite a long time, to compile the list. A lot of them are in public places, and a lot of the private clients who have them are happy to have them seen. But I would say there's probably there's at least 1,000 or maybe 2 out there in the public realm.
Well, start off with the very best of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Those will be the ones that work.
Thank you. And very, very brief question or comment by Roger, and then we should proceed.
Okay.
My comment will be very close to Woody's. I also enjoyed your presentation very much. And do you get at least a website where we can, which we can browse and see these pictures and maybe more of them?
We have
of them.
We do. We have a website. Some of them are private, and we don't put them on there. But I tell you what, when I will invigorate our website and we can put a list of the public ones, and we can show pictures of the ones that we are proud of. We have made hundreds and hundreds of armillary spheres, some of them in beautiful locations, but at the end of the day, an armillary sphere is an armillary sphere. But we have also made some quite unusual, reflective ceiling dials in people's bedrooms and glass floor dials, etc. At the end of the day, I'm happy to share, and it's interesting that my confidence 30 years ago meant that I didn't want to share. I didn't go to meetings. I didn't promote myself as a sundial maker in the company of academics and the experience. I now know that what we make is valid, and it should be shared.
Thank you very much, David.